How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Very good. Very good. Sip on this if that's okay.
Cool. So, Kelvin, you're doing a lot of training at King's MMA these days. Why do you like that spot? Why is that a good fit for you?
You know, I've been around to a lot of gyms and trained with a lot of people, a lot of coaches. But Rafael Cordero really brings something to the training. Everybody in that gym just kind of feeds off his energy, and then we all just kind of unite together that energy, and it creates something crazy. You know, we create some monsters in that gym.
Well, there's always been kind of a very spiritual angle to his method of teaching as well.
Yes.
Is that something that you connect with?
Absolutely. You know, you know, I was raised in the Christian faith, you know, so it's something that I do have in my life and that I do respect out of him because, and it means a lot more for me to train there because of that.
You seem to really be embracing your Latino side lately, much more. Why is that, or does it just seem that way to us and you've always been that way?
It's a little bit of both. Now that I've been able to travel and kind of learn my way around Latin America, you know, I embrace it now, and the Latin people have treated me tremendously well, so I want to represent them and represent them well, you know, because they've treated me well, and yeah.
You have a big fight coming up. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes.
What do you make of Johny Hendricks as an opponent? It's a tremendous step up in competition.
Yes. Well, these are the kind of fights that I've wanted since I got in the UFC, you know, but now I feel like I'm finally at that level where I can compete with the best guys in my division, so I feel perfectly comfortable taking this fight, and I feel like I'm just going to, you know, show what the future KG is all about. You know, I've had a rough 2014, 15, and then I had a great 2014. I want to put all that behind me, the good, the bad, and then start all over this year and kind of have people talking about the new, improved version of me.
You know there's going to be jokes about you guys making weight. I mean,
yeah,
you're ready
for that,
right?
Yeah, of course, I'm ready.
With all that in the rearview mirror, though, I know you've been honest about mistakes you made before, stopping off to eat tacos on the way to the weigh-in and stuff like that, or maybe that was your coaches telling me that. But what do you think it was that was keeping you from doing it the right way before? Why do you think something has switched over where it won't be an issue?
Just lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, before I ever got in the UFC, I was just a little kid, 21. I mean, it's not young, but I was very not used to a lot of things and not used to dieting and nutrition. I didn't know what dieting was. I didn't know what nutrition was. So it's taken me a while to kind of learn, and I've taken multiple nutrition classes to just kind of learn and get how it really works.
And I'm not trying to be racist. I swear somebody told me you stopped for tacos once before weigh-in.
Well, then that person is racist.
Okay.
Well, UFC 200, they're going to have all the new implementation of the weight cutting rules with the UFC and the procedures for that fight week. What do you make of those?
I think it's rules that we got to follow. I mean, we may not like them, but it's rules, and we got to follow them.
Do you think it's an improvement in the sport? And
I think it could be an improvement for the sport for sure. I think it's heading somewhere to where I think it's going to open up more weight classes like boxing. That's what I think it'll eventually lead to, but I could be wrong.
Clearly, you know, Wonder Boy is a very different fighter than you are, but when we saw what he was able to do to Johny Hendricks, did that kind of open up any doors for you, give you some keys to how you might approach the fight?
You know, honestly, it didn't, because I'm such a different fighter from Thompson. We fight differently. So, no, not really.
Kelvin, did you hear about the new weigh-in rules here in California?
Yes, sir.
That happened yesterday. Would you like to take part in something like that?
You
weigh in at 10 a.m. as opposed to waiting until 4.
Yes, that's more beneficial for us, the fighters. I think, you know, we don't have to wait all day until in the evening to eat, instead of having to suffer through all day on Friday. You know, we get to weigh in in the morning, eat, and then you know, have all that day to recover.
And with regards to the new rules that will be coming into play come July, do you wish that there was maybe a process in play where they would approach you guys and be like, okay, what do you feel comfortable with? Maybe 8%, maybe 9%, maybe 10% of your body weight? Perhaps a discussion as opposed to, okay, these are the rules.
You know, I think we shouldn't even be talking about it at all, honestly.
It's not necessary.
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
But like I said, it's rules that we got to follow, and we just gotta put up with it. Really, that's how I feel with it.
Will you be working with a nutritionist for this?
So
fight?
George Lockhart is the guy that I worked with last time, and that's what I'll be working with this time as well.
So one of your former opponents, Tyron Woodley, finally getting that title
Yeah.
shot. What do you make of that?
Well, if I was an analyzer or someone from the media looking from the outside in, you know, his last win was against a top 15 guy a year and a half ago. And his last fight before that was against Carlos Condit, I believe, no?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, his last win was a split decision win against a top 15 guy a year and a half ago or longer. So, I don't know if that makes sense, but
you discount the win over Carlos Condit?
no. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But do I think he deserves a title shot? Probably not right now. Until I think he needs to beat somebody like Rory MacDonald, somebody like Damien Maya.
So would you have given it to Damien then? Who would you have given it to if it was
Damien,
win?
for sure.
Yeah.
Damien, because I think he's got the most consecutive victories, and there's not really a top contender right now, a clear top contender. I think he would probably be the most deserving.
Well, Wonder Boy and Rory are squaring off in just a couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
who do you think is going to take that fight?
That's interesting because Stephen Thompson impressed me in that Johny Hendricks fight, you know, and then obviously Rory MacDonald is Rory MacDonald. But I think Rory is going to do it with his experience.
Do you think you're catching Johnny at the right time? Do you think he's on the way down after that performance against Wonder Boy?
I don't know if he's on his way down, but I feel like he hasn't progressed as a fighter. I think he plateaued. And I feel like, you know, I've been at Kings already for like 6 months, and I'm learning and growing and just becoming a whole different fighter, I feel. You know, so the KG that trained with him 2 years ago, I helped him prepare for the first Robbie Lawler fight. That's not the same guy.
Mm-hmm. Who do you put in the most work with? You know, I know that Beneil as a lightweight rolls with Verdum. You know, I know obviously we have Rafael dos Anjos there. I know guys like Pat Cummins are there a lot. So who do you work with the most?
Guys like Benny.
Yeah.
Benny and I work a lot, and then there's other monsters that are not signed with the UFC yet, but I work with a lot of those guys. There's this kickboxer, Anderson Silva. He's like this tall, 240 pounds, and he's good. You know, he's a monster. But there's just different guys that not a lot of people know, but they're monsters inside there. Everybody in that gym's a monster.
Kelvin, just curious if you had any thoughts about the passing of Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's sad. You know, he was a big figure in not only sports, but, you know, a big figure just out in life, I guess, you know. So it was pretty sad to hear his news. Honestly, I did get a little choked up because of it, you know.
Did you used to watch him?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I watched this. Well,
I mean, no, I like old clips of him.
Yeah, old clips.
I know you're not that old.
Yeah. I was born in 91, man. Come on.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.